Hello, welcome to the Daily Devotion. I'm Kathy Morris, pastor of the Dixon United Methodist Church. Today we're going to be taking another look at the Bible reading that we had yesterday. The Apostle Paul's words to his young co-worker Timothy have a lot to say to us. And so I'm reading from the second letter to Timothy, chapter 1, verses 3 through 7 from the New Revised Standard Version. I am grateful to God, whom I worship with a clear conscience, as my ancestors did, when I remember you constantly in my prayers night and day. Recalling your tears, I long to see you so that I may be filled with joy. I am reminded of your sincere faith, a faith that lived first in your grandmother Lois and your mother Eunice, and now I am sure lives in you. For this reason, I remind you to rekindle the gift of God that is within you through the laying on of my hands. For God did not give us a spirit of cowardice, but rather a spirit of power and of love and of self-discipline. Now, yesterday I had been focusing on what it means to worship or to live to God with a clear conscience. That's a really important thing for us to be mindful of each day. But for our reflection today, what I would like us to take a look at is, what does it mean not to live with a spirit of cowardice, but to live with the spirit of power, love, and self-discipline? Now, I have to admit that when I hear these words, they sound like something that you might find on an inspirational poster. And it's not that there's anything wrong with that. These are very true words, and we can certainly just take them as words of inspiration and encouragement. But I know it can also be easy for us to see that we do these things as a matter of our own will, rather than recognizing that we are not the source of power, love, or self-discipline. God is truly the one who gives us these gifts, the gifts of power, love, and self-discipline. We are never more aware of our powerlessness than when things aren't going very well in our lives. Now, the spiritual greats had a great awareness, a sense of their weakness, their imperfection, and thus they truly understood that their lives depended upon God, and so they relied upon God. François Fénelon was a French Roman Catholic bishop. He lived between 1651 and 1715. He's best known for a series of 41 essays. These were devotional essays, and in these essays he encouraged the reader to give their whole hearts to God. François Fénelon was speaking to Christians who were in a tough situation, because his ministry actually took place within the court of Louis XIV. And so he was addressing people who were trying to live a spiritual life in the midst of an immoral court life. That really does take power, love, and self-discipline. Power, love, and self-discipline that come from God. Here's a prayer by François Fénelon. My strength fails. I feel only weakness, irritation, and depression. I am tempted to complain and to despair. What has become of the courage I was so proud of and that gave me so much self-confidence? In addition to my pain, I have to bear the shame of my fretful feebleness. Lord, destroy my pride. Leave it no resource. How happy shall I be if you can teach me by these terrible trials that I am nothing, and that I can do nothing, and that you are all. It's really quite freeing when we discover that success does not depend on us. Success depends upon God. In your prayer journal, what I would encourage you to do is write the name God somewhere in the middle of the page, and then below the name of God to write the words power, love, self-discipline. And then draw an arrow from God to each one of those 3 words. May God teach us this truth every day as we learn to rely upon God for everything, so that we may live in the fullness of His power.